I have always found it fascinating how some of the most unforgettable stories, like books, games, films, are the ones that don't give us all the answers. The movie that ends mid-thought, the game that never tells you who you really are, the story that lingers not because of what it said, but because of what it left unsaid. Somehow, when stories don't finish the way we expect them to, they stay longer with us. Hey, what's up, y'all? Glad to have you back. Before we jump in, just a quick note. The next video is going to need a little bit more time to really flesh things out, so I appreciate your patience. I'm excited to share it when it's ready. Now, today we're diving into unfinished stories and why not giving closure might be one of the most powerful choices a storyteller can make. First, I wanted to start off with a quote that Haruki Murakami once wrote. Unanswered questions are far less dangerous than unquestioned answers. It's a simple line, but it nails something we don't talk about enough. That ambiguity isn't a flaw, it's a feature. One that asks more of us than just watching or listening. It asks us to participate, to think, and to interpret. And you can see this across mediums. In film, movies like Lost in Translation, The Lobster, or 2001 A Space Odyssey. In literature, books like The Road or The Left Hand of Darkness. In games, titles like Inside, Hyper Light Drifter, or the one we're talking about today, Shadow of the Colossus. And in anime, like Monster, a psychological thriller that spans 74 episodes asking one central question. What is the value of a single life? It follows Dr. Kenzo Tenma, a brilliant surgeon who saves the life of a young boy, only to discover that the boy grows up to be a murderer. But what makes Monster so unforgettable isn't just a plot twist or suspense. It's quiet, and it has some kind of patience. The way it forces you to sit with moral ambiguity for episodes at a time. Tenma isn't a traditional hero, and Johan, the antagonist, might not even be human in the way we think about it. But the series never gives you easy answers. You're not told who's right or wrong. You're not even told if redemption is possible. It leaves space for the viewer to interpret the ending the way they want. And even in the final moments, when you think you might get clarity, Monster simply asks another question and leaves. It lingers like a bad dream you can explain, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. If you have played Shadow of the Colossus, you know the vibe. You step into this massive, quiet world with no lengthy tutorial, no big exposition dump. Just you, your horse, and the Colossi. There is a goal: take down these massive creatures to save someone you love. But that's about all you're told. And the more you play, the more you start to feel like maybe you're not the hero here. But the game never confirms or denies that. It just lets the weight of your actions sit with you. And that silence, that absence of explanation, it's louder than any dialogue could be. This is something all great unfinished stories have in common. They trust the audience. They assume we're capable of feeling something without having it spelled out. They understand that mystery creates emotional gravity. When we're not told what we think, we have to think. And it's not just about the endings. It's about the way a story is structured, where it chooses to pause, what it leaves out, or what it dares not to say. Let me give you a contrast. Think about a detective show where every clue gets explained, every loose thread tied. It's satisfying, but only in the moment. You definitely will forget it the next day. But now think about a story like Inception. You still see people arguing online about a spinning top. It's been over a decade and the ending still hits because it really doesn't give you a clean answer. This doesn't mean stories should be vague for the sake of being vague. The best incomplete stories feel intentional, like the creator knew what they were doing, but chose to withhold it. It's the difference between being lazy and being deliberate. Let's go back to the shadow of the Colossus. Even the world building is built on a mission. There's history here, you feel it in the architecture, in the vast empty plains in the ruins. But you're never told what happened. There's no diary to find, no flashback sequence, just implication. And the thing is, implication invites imagination. We start filling in the blanks ourselves, and when we do that, we become part of the storytelling process. It's like when a filmmaker holds on a shot longer than normal. You start wondering why, you start to lean in, you read the actor's expression, you ask yourself, what are they feeling? What's gonna happen next? Ambiguity slows us down and pulls us into the moment instead of rushing us to the next. There's also an emotional side to this. Unfinished stories feel closer to real life because in real life, we don't get perfect closure. People leave, moments end, questions go unanswered. A story that reflects that feels true. Even if it's set in a fantasy world or a distant dystopia, that authenticity is part of what makes stories like Shadow of the Colossus so haunting. And look, it's not for everyone. Some people want clarity, they want closure, and that's totally fair. But there's something undeniably powerful about a story that says, you will be the one to figure it out. Because when we do, when we engage with a story after it's over, we're keeping it alive. And I think that's the real beauty of incomplete stories. They stay with us, they echo. They refuse to be wrapped up and stored neatly away. They become part of us, because we had to meet them halfway. Shadow of the Colossus doesn't tell you what it means. It doesn't tell you if you were right or wrong. It just shows you what you did, and then it lets you sit with it. And honestly, that's way more powerful than any clear-cut ending. Thanks for exploring this with me. There are so many stories like this I want to dive into. Films, books, games that dare to leave something unfinished. Because sometimes the most unforgettable stories are the ones that never truly end. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives and discussion just like this one. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.